Rain patters gently against my window, sliding down in crooked little streams that blur the New York skyline beyond. I'm sitting cross-legged on my couch, staring at a single chocolate cupcake resting on my coffee table. One small candle stands in the center, unlit. Today I turned 30, the big 30, and not one person remembered. I glance down at my phone for what feels like the 15th time in 10 minutes. The screen is blank, no missed calls, no new texts, nothing. Just my reflection staring back at me from the black glass. The clock on the wall ticks softly to 8 o'clock, the sound sharp and final, as if it's marking the official end of my birthday. Something inside me seems to deflate, like a balloon losing air. It's real now. My milestone birthday has slipped by unnoticed, forgotten by the very people who brought me into this world. I unlock my phone, though I know I shouldn't. I scroll straight to Instagram, fully aware I'm just setting myself up for hurt. My thumb moves without thought, sliding through picture after picture until it lands on exactly what I expected. My sister, Clarissa. Her latest post shines from the screen. She's radiant, seated at her piano recital last night, her fingers curved perfectly over the keys. 78 likes already. The very first comment, my mother's, our shining star. Your father and I couldn't be prouder of your magnificent talent. Then my dad's follows. That's my girl. Mozart himself would be jealous. I feel the tightness crawl into my throat. It's always been this way. 30 years of the same cycle. And it still stings, just as sharply as when I was a child. I close Instagram and flip over to my camera roll. I scroll through pictures of the boutique hotel redesign I finished last month. The one that got recognition in my field. The one that earned me a nice, fat bonus. The warm lighting. The blend of sleek modern touches with preserved history. My masterpiece so far. But a tear falls right onto the screen, warping the image of my proudest work. I swipe it away with my sleeve, annoyed. Nobody's ever going to celebrate you, Hazel, I whisper under my breath. My voice sounds small in the empty apartment. Not the way they celebrate her. And then, like a cruel film reel, my mind pulls me back to the moment it all started. I was 10 years old, waiting in the living room. I wore the pink dress Grandma had mailed me for my birthday, my hair brushed neat, my best smile plastered on my face. Ready, hurry up. We can't be late for Clarissa's recital, my mother called, rushing past me without so much as a glance. But what about my party? My voice was tiny, barely audible. Dad patted the top of my head absently. We'll celebrate next weekend, kiddo. But we never did. That was the day I learned what it meant to fade into the background of my own life. To swallow disappointment, to expect nothing, and to pretend that less was enough. To clap louder than anyone while my sister soaked in the spotlight. I wipe another tear from my cheek, annoyed at myself. I'm 30 years old, not 10. I should be over this by now. The cupcake sits there, frosting slightly hardened from waiting. Too long, I reach for it, but stop. What exactly would I be celebrating? Another year of being invisible. Another milestone passed in silence. No, not this time. I sit up straighter and open my laptop. The glow lights up my face as I log into my bank account. The numbers stare back at me. $97,342.16. The result of careful saving over the years, and a big $70,000 bonus from that hotel project. Money no one knows about, because no one cared enough to ask. I stare at the balance, my heart beating faster. My finger hovers over. My phone, a thought forms, reckless, dangerous even. For the first time today, I feel something other than disappointment. I feel alive. I press the call button. Brooklyn Audi, this is Mark speaking. How can I help you today? The man's voice is cheerful. Yes, I say, my voice steady, more than I expected. I was wondering if you have any Q5S available. We certainly do. Several models. Were you looking to schedule a test drive? I glance at the untouched cupcake, at the dark window with rain streaking down, at my silent phone. Actually, I say, surprising myself, I'm thinking about buying one. Tonight. He sounds surprised. Well, we're open another hour. If you're serious, I'd be happy to get the paperwork started. I am, I reply, standing up from the couch. I'm very serious. I hang up and catch my reflection in the window. For a second, I don't recognize the woman looking. Back her spine is straight, her chin lifted. There's a glint in her eyes, one that looks like defiance. If they won't celebrate me, I tell my reflection, then I'll celebrate myself. I grab my keys, my wallet, and leave the sad cupcake behind. Outside, the rain has stopped, and the clouds are breaking just enough to show a few stars. For the first time in 30 years, I'm about to give myself the gift I deserve. 40 minutes later, I pull up to the Audi dealership. Bright spotlights gleam across polished floors, making the cars shine like wet pavement after a storm. My heart thunders as I push through the glass doors. A tall man in a crisp shirt walks toward me with the easy confidence of someone who knows how to read people. Welcome to Brooklyn, Audi. I'm Mark. His handshake is firm. What brings you in tonight? I called earlier about the Q5. My voice is steady, though my knees feel shaky. I'd like to buy one tonight. Mark blinks. Surprise flickers across his face. Then he nods. Of course, let me show you our options. He leads me past rows of sleek vehicles, their curves gleaming under the lights. And then, in the corner, I see it. A midnight blue Q5. It feels like it's been waiting for me. I trail my fingers along the glossy surface. My reflection wavers in the Penta woman with determination in her step. Would you like to test drive it first? Mark asks politely. I shake my head. No need. This is the one. We move to the finance office, where a woman with silver streaks in her hair slides paperwork across a polished desk. How would you like to finance this? She asks. I'll put down $60,000 in cash, I answer. The words feel strange on my tongue, like they belong to someone bolder, and I'll finance the rest. Her eyebrows rise slightly, but she quickly hides her surprise. That's quite a substantial down payment. What do you do for work, Miss Hayes? Interior architect. I just completed a boutique hotel redesign. I don't mention the award or the bonus. Let her wonder. My hand trembles slightly as I sign the last form. The key fob feels heavy in my palm. Solid. Mine. Congratulations on your new Audi, Mark says, handing me the keys. He walks me over to the car, as though presenting me with a crown. I see my reflection again in the deep blue paint. The overhead lights create a halo around me. For a moment, I hardly recognize myself. My shoulders set differently. My chin tilted higher. Back at my apartment, I can't stop glancing out the window at my new car parked on the street. It looks almost defiant under the streetlights. Inside, I unlock my phone and hover over Instagram. My finger pauses above the camera icon, then I grab my jacket. This needs to be done right. 30 minutes later, I'm at a viewpoint overlooking the Manhattan skyline. The Empire State Building glows against the dark sky. I positioned the Audi just so, the city lights reflecting across its surface like a jewel. I snap photos until one feels perfect. The caption takes longer. I type, delete, type again. Finally, I settle on, happy birthday to me. Dream car, dream life. I hover over post for a full minute. This isn't just about a car. It's a declaration. A statement about my worth. Wow, Hazel, that's gorgeous. Happy birthday. You deserve it. Didn't know you were an Audi girl now. Congrats. For the first time tonight, warmth blooms in my chest. And then my phone buzzes again. A call. Mother. Her name flashes across the screen. I stare for 3 rings before answering. Hazel Jane Hayes, she says, using my full name. Never a good sign. Where did you get that kind of money? Not happy birthday. Not how are you. Just suspicion. Hello to you too, Mum, I say, leaning against the Audi's hood. I earned it. That car costs more than some people make in a year. I hear her voice rise. Richard, come talk to your daughter about this nonsense. My father's voice takes over. Hazel, is this some kind of lease deal? Because financially, this doesn't seem it's mine, I cut in. Paid mostly in cash. From the bonus I earned redesigning the Berkeley Hotel. There's silence. I can almost hear him calculating. Well, he says finally, that seems impulsive. Another beep interrupts. A text preview. Clarissa, wow, didn't think you could afford something like that. Mum and Dad are freaking out. Lol. Seconds later, the family group chat explodes with messages about my sudden extravagance. Not one message mentions my birthday. Mum's voice comes back on the line. We need to discuss this as a family. Dinner tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Sharp. Is that an invitation or a summons? I ask, surprising myself. This is family. Hazel, we're concerned. I glance at my watch. 9:43 p.m, my 30th birthday almost over. Still unacknowledged. I'll be there, I say finally, but I'll be driving myself. After hanging up, I slide into my new car. The leather wraps around me like armor. Tomorrow will be the reckoning. But tonight is still mine. The next evening, I pull up in front of my parents' brownstone in Brooklyn Heights. The street is lined with stately old homes, trees arching overhead, their leaves rustling in the early autumn breeze. My new Audi glistens under the soft glow of the street lamp, and for a brief second, pride bubbles up again. But then I see the familiar red brick facade of my parents' house, and my chest tightens. My stomach knots the way it always does before stepping inside. It's as if the walls themselves remember every slight, every dismissal, every time I tried to make myself small. I gripped the steering wheel a little tighter before finally shutting the engine off. The leather seat makes a soft sigh as I stand, locking the car with a click that echoes down the quiet street. I square my shoulders. Tonight I promised myself I wouldn't shrink. The front door swings open before I can knock. My mother stands, their lips pressed thin, her arms folded across her chest. She doesn't look at me first. Her eyes flicker past me, down the street, then back to the car. So it's true, she says, her voice clipped. You really bought it. Hello to you too, Mom, I reply, forcing a polite smile. Yes, I did, Richard, she calls. Over her shoulder, ignoring my greeting. Come see this nonsense. My father appears, adjusting his glasses. His eyes follow the same path. Me, then the Audi. His brows knit together. Hazel, was this really necessary? Was it necessary? I repeat, my voice low. It was my money, my choice. Mum waves a dismissive hand. We'll talk inside. She steps aside, and I enter the familiar foyer. The smell of roasted chicken and rosemary fills the air. But it doesn't comfort me. Not tonight. The dining room looks like a magazine spread. White tablecloth, silver candlesticks, crystal glasses that catch the light. My sister Clarissa sits already in her spot at the head of the table, scrolling on her phone. She glances up, her lips curving into that practiced smirk. Well, look who finally decided to join us, she says. Her tone drips with amusement. How's the big city life treating you, Hazel? Oh wait, you're still in Brooklyn too. I bite down on the inside of my cheek. Nice to see you too, Clarissa. Dinner begins with the usual surface-level chatter. Dad talks about a new client at his firm. Mum brags about Clarissa's upcoming recital. I sit quietly, pushing roasted vegetables around my plate, waiting for anyone to acknowledge what yesterday was. Finally, I break the silence. So, none of you remembered. Forks pause mid-air. Clarissa arches an eyebrow. Remembered what? My birthday, I say. My voice comes out sharper than I intended. I turned 30 yesterday. For a moment, the only sound is the clock ticking on the wall. Then my mother waves her hand like she's shooing away a fly. Oh, Hazel, don't be so dramatic. We were busy. You know how things are with Clarissa's schedule. My chest tightens. It was my 30th birthday. That's not just another day. Dad sighs. You're not a child anymore, Hazel. At your age, birthdays aren't such a big deal. I laugh, bitter and short. Funny, Clarissa's 27, and you threw her a full dinner party last year, with balloons and speeches. Clarissa smirks again. Well, not everyone gets celebrated the same way, Hazel. Some people shine a little brighter. The words cut deeper than they should. I take a sip of water, trying to steady my hands. My eyes flicker toward the sideboard against the wall, where something catches my attention. A white bakery box, tied neatly with a ribbon. What's that? I ask. Mom follows my gaze. Oh, that's just dessert. She stands, retrieves the box, and sets it in the center of the table. With a flourish, she unties the ribbon and lifts. The lid. Inside sits a cake, frosted in pale pink, piped with delicate swirls. Across the top, written in elegant cursive, are the words, "Congratulations, Clarissa." My stomach drops. What's this for? I manage, my voice barely above a whisper. Clarissa beams. It's for me, obviously. I just got confirmed for a solo piece at my next recital. Mom and Dad wanted to celebrate properly. I stare at the cake, my vision blurring at the edges. My parents' faces glow with pride as they fuss over Clarissa, cutting slices, passing plates. Not one word about me. Not even after I reminded them. Something inside me snaps. I push back my chair, the legs scraping hard against the wooden floor. Everyone looks up, startled. I can't do this anymore, I say, my voice shaking but loud. Do you even hear yourselves? Yesterday was my birthday. 30 years. And you forgot again, but you still found the time to buy a cake for Clarissa today. My mother frowns, setting down the knife. Hazel, lower your voice. You're overreacting. No, I say firmly, I'm not. I have spent my entire life waiting for you to see me, to be proud of me. And every single time, Clarissa gets the spotlight while I get ignored. Dad clears his throat, his face tight. This isn't the place. This is the place. I cut in. Because this is exactly how it's always been. Do you even know what I've accomplished? Do you care? Last month, I redesigned a hotel that made headlines. I got a bonus bigger than my yearly salary. I bought myself a car that I worked damn hard for. And all you can say is that it was impulsive. Meanwhile, Clarissa gets a cake for playing piano. Again, Clarissa rolls. Her eyes, you're jealous. You've always been jealous. My hands tremble, but I plant them firmly on the table. I'm not jealous. I'm done. Done waiting for you to love me the way you love her. Done begging for crumbs of attention. The room falls into stunned silence. The only sound is the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Finally, Mum speaks, her voice sharp. Hazel, sit down. You're making a scene. I shake my head. No, I'm making a choice. I grab my bag from the chair. My heart pounds as I walk toward the door. Dad's voice follows me. Hazel, don't you dare walk out like this. We're your family. I stop, my hand on the doorknob. I turn just enough to look back at them. Clarissa smug with her cake, my parents staring with disapproval, not concern. You're right, I say softly. You are my family, but you've never been my people, and I deserve better than this. With that, I open the door and step out into the crisp night air. The cool breeze hits my face, and for the first time, it feels like freedom. I slide into my Audi, the leather hugging me like armor once again. My hands grip the wheel. My reflection in the rearview mirror shows tear-streaked cheeks, but also something else. Strength, resolve. I start the engine. The car hums to life, smooth and powerful. And as I pull away from the brownstone, I don't look back, not once. The morning after the disastrous dinner, I wake up with swollen eyes and a pounding head. For a while, I just lie there staring at the ceiling of my apartment. My phone sits on the nightstand, dark and silent. No texts, no apologies, no sudden realization from my parents that they'd hurt me. And deep down, I know none will come. That's not who they are. But last night changed something. I felt it the moment I shut the door behind me and slid into my car. A clean break, like shedding old skin. Painful, raw, but necessary. I swing my legs out of bed and pad to the bathroom. The mirror reflects a woman who looks exhausted, fragile. But behind the puffiness, I see something else. A spark. And I know I need to fan it into a flame. I open my closet and stare at the rows of black slacks, grey blouses, beige sweaters. Clothes chosen to blend in, to not draw attention. To keep me small, exactly how my family always preferred me. I shut the doors. Then I grab my phone and type into the search bar, Personal Stylist Brooklyn. By noon. I'm standing in a bright Soho boutique while a stylist named Leela circles me like a sculptor, sizing up her next masterpiece. You've been hiding, she declares, pulling a sleek emerald dress from the rack. But no more. You've got the height, the posture, the cheekbones. Trust me, we can work with this. I laugh nervously. I don't know. I've never really stood out. That's exactly the problem, she says, pressing the dress into my hands. Try this, you'll see. The dressing room mirror nearly steals my breath. The woman staring back at me doesn't look like me at all. The emerald fabric skims my curves, the color making my eyes look brighter, sharper. My hair, usually pulled back in a practical bun, falls loose around my shoulders. For the first time in years, I see someone worth noticing. By the time I leave the boutique, I'm carrying bags heavier than I expected and lighter in spirit than I've felt in a long time. The transformation doesn't stop there. A new haircut, subtle highlights, manicure, even something as small as trading my old glasses for stylish frames. Each step feels like peeling away layers I never needed. Layers, my family draped over me, and the strangest part, people noticed at work. My colleagues stop me in the hallway. Hazel, why you look incredible. Love the new style. Even my boss pauses during a presentation to comment, Hazel, you're glowing lately. Confidence suits you. It's not just the looks, it's how I carry myself now. I speak louder in meetings. I push back when clients suggest ideas that don't work. I stop apologizing for existing, and slowly, opportunities multiply. My portfolio gets shared at industry events. Invitations roll in for panels and galas. A well-known magazine reaches out for an interview about my work on the Berkeley Hotel. Every step forward feels like a brick added to the foundation I'm building under myself. For once, I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. But even with all the external validation, the old ache lingers. The ache of being unseen by the people who were supposed to love me first. It creeps in late at night, when the city is quiet, when success feels hollow without someone to share it with. One crisp Saturday afternoon, I'm at a cafe in Williamsburg, sipping a latte and flipping through design sketches. My phone buzzes. A notification. New email from Clarissa Hayes. My first instinct is to delete it, but curiosity wins. I open it. Hazel mom and dad are planning a party at the house next weekend. For their anniversary. It's supposed to be big. Lots of people from their circle will be there. They want you to come. Actually, they insisted I tell you. Clarissa. I stare at the screen, my stomach twisting. An anniversary party. At their house. With their friends, their colleagues, their perfect social circle. 1,000 memories flood back. Standing in corners while they praised Clarissa. Getting asked, "And what is it you do again, dear?" Being treated like the placeholder child. Part of me wants to ignore it, delete the email and never look back. But another part, the part that signed a $60,000 check for a car, the part that stood up at dinner and finally spoke. The truth leans forward. What if this is my chance? Not to win them over, I've stopped chasing that, but to show them, to stand tall, unapologetic, undeniable. I type a reply. I'll be there. The week leading up to the party feels electric. I bury myself in work during the day, finalizing a new hotel lobby design. At night, I prepare. Outfit, hair, shoes, every detail precise. Not for them, but for me. The day arrives. I slip into a deep navy dress that hugs in all the right places, paired with heels that make me feel 6 feet tall. My hair gleams under the soft curl of the blow dryer. I add a pair of diamond studs I bought for myself last year, but never had the courage to wear. When I look in the mirror, I don't see the forgotten daughter. I see Hazel Hayes, woman in full. Sliding into my Audi, I take a deep breath. The leather still smells new, rich. I grip the wheel, and for the first time, I feel excitement rather than dread at the thought of seeing my family. The brownstone looms ahead, lit up like a stage. Cars line the block. Through the tall windows, I can see people moving inside, glasses raised, laughter echoing. As I step out of my Audi, heads turn. A couple on the sidewalk actually stops mid-conversation to glance at me. My heels click confidently against the pavement. Each step feels deliberate, steady. Inside, the foyer buzzes with chatter. Waiters in white shirts glide by with trays of champagne. The air smells of roses and expensive perfume. And then I hear it, my mother's voice. Hazel. I turn. For once, her eyes widened, not with disapproval, but with shock. She takes in the dress, the hair, the posture. For a moment, she looks like she doesn't recognize me. Clarissa appears at her side, glass in hand. Her eyes flick up and down me, and her smirk falters just slightly. "Well," she says, trying to recover, "look who decided to make an effort." I smile, slow and deliberate. "Good evening, Clarissa, Mum." My father joins them, adjusting his tie. His gaze lingers on me with a mix of curiosity and confusion, as if he's recalibrating how to categorize me. "You came," he said simply. "I said I would," I reply. The room feels suddenly brighter. Conversations hush as people notice me. Strangers offer smiles, nods. I hear whispers. "Who's that? She looks incredible. Is that the other Hayes daughter?" And for the first time in my life, I don't shrink under the attention. I let it wash over me like warm sunlight. I take a glass of champagne from a passing tray, holding it lightly between my fingers. The bubbles rise, delicate and steady. Just like the new version of me. This is my stage now, and I intend to use it. The clink of glasses and low hum of conversation fills the air. My parents' brownstone has never looked so alive. Strings of white lights curve along the ceiling, catching in the crystal chandeliers, giving everything a soft golden glow. A string quartet plays near the corner, their bows moving in perfect rhythm. Waiters circle with trays of hors d'oeuvres offering smoked salmon and goat cheese tartlets. This isn't just a party, it's a show. My parents' show. A parade of success, of appearances, of status, and for the first time, I'm not here as a shadow. As I move through the crowd, I feel eyes follow me. Not with pity, not with confusion, but with interest, admiration even. People I've known since childhood, who once overlooked me, stop me with warm smiles. "Hazel, is that you? You look incredible. We heard about your hotel project, amazing work." I thank them politely, sipping my champagne. Inside, my heart beats like a drum. This attention used to make me uncomfortable. Tonight, I let it in. Near the center of the room, my parents hold court. My father laughs a little too loudly at some joke. My mother's pearls gleam at her throat as she clutches a friend's hand, nodding along to gossip. Clarissa stands beside them, radiant as ever in a sequined gown, accepting compliments about her recital, as though the spotlight belongs to her by birthright. When they see me approach, something shifts. My mother straightens, her smile freezing. My father clears his throat. Clarissa tilts her head, eyes narrowed. "Hazel," my mother says carefully, as though testing the word. "You look well." "Well," Clarissa echoes, though her tone makes it sound like an accusation. I raise my glass slightly. "Happy anniversary, Mum." "Dad." A guest nearby, an older woman I vaguely recognize, leans. "And this must be your other daughter," she says brightly. "The architect, isn't that right? I read about your work in design today. Stunning." Truly, I see my mother's jaw tighten. My father's eyes flicker sideways. Clarissa sips her drink, silent. "Yes," I say, smiling warmly at the woman. "That was my project. Thank you for noticing." The woman beams, squeezes my hand, and moves on. But the moment lingers. A tiny crack in the perfect facade my family has built around Clarissa. Dinner is served in the grand dining room. Guests laugh, glasses clink, the quartet plays softly in the background. I sit at the long mahogany table, across from Clarissa. She watches me like a hawk, her smirk never far from her lips. And then it happens. The waiters dim the lights. A hush falls over the table. From the kitchen, another waiter emerges carrying a cake. Not just any cake. 3 tiers, white fondant, decorated with gold swirls. Across the middle tier, in elegant script, to Richard and Eleanor, 35 years strong. The guests erupt in applause. My parents glow under the attention, their hands clasped as they lean in for a staged kiss. Clarissa claps loudest, her eyes flicking toward me with a glint of satisfaction. But something inside me feels calm, steady, because unlike at dinner last week, I'm not blindsided this time. I don't need their cake. I don't need their approval. I already brought my own worth to the table. After dessert, speeches begin. Friends stand, sharing memories of my parents, their travels, their accomplishments. My father makes a toast, raising his glass high, to my beautiful wife, Eleanor, to 35 years of love, of family, of success, applause, laughter. Glasses lifted, and then, before the clinking dies down, I stand. The room quiets, dozens of eyes turn to me. My mother's smile falters. My father lowers his glass. Clarissa shifts in her chair, her smirk returning like armor. "I'd like to say something," I begin. My voice is clear, steady, stronger than I expected. I want to start by congratulating my parents. 35 years together is no small thing. Commitment like that deserves to be celebrated. I pause as guests nod, smiling politely. My parents relax slightly. For a moment, it seems safe. But I continue, my tone shifting. Celebrations like this also remind us of what we value, who we choose to honor, and sometimes who we choose to overlook. A ripple moves through the room. My mother stiffens. My father's brow furrows. Clarissa leans back, arms crossed, watching. "I've spent 30 years being the overlooked one," I say, my gaze steady on my parents. The daughter who wasn't the star, who didn't get the cakes, the parties, the pride, because you only had room for one shining light in this family, and that was Clarissa. Gasps, murmurs, my parents flush, their perfect image cracking in front of their guests. I used to think if I worked harder, achieved more, you'd finally see me. That if I shouted loud enough, you'd hear me. But last week, when you forgot my 30th birthday and bought a cake for Clarissa the very next day, that was the moment I realized something important. I don't need you to see me. I see myself. I lift my glass, high and proud. So tonight, I'm not just toasting 35 years of their marriage. I'm toasting 30 years of becoming someone in spite of being unseen. To Hazel Hayes, to finally being free. The room is silent for a beat. Then, slowly, applause begins. Not from my family, but from their guests. Some clap hesitantly, others enthusiastically. The sound grows, filling the room, until it drowns out the silence at my parents' end of the table. Clarissa's smirk has vanished. My mother's face is stone. My father stares at his glass, jaw tight. I set my drink down, heart pounding, but steady. Excuse me, I say softly, and step away from the table. In the hallway, I grab my clutch. My heels click against the polished wood floor as I head for the door. Hazel. The voice behind me is sharp. My mother. She hurries after me, her pearls catching the light. How dare you humiliate us like that, in front of our friends? I turn calm. Humiliation comes from truth you're too afraid to face. I didn't humiliate you. I liberated myself. You ungrateful, she begins, but I cut her off. No, I say firmly. I'm done being called ungrateful for wanting basic love. I gave you 30 years of silence, of shrinking, of making myself less so. Clarissa could be more. No more. You don't have to like who I am now, but you don't get to define me anymore. Her face twists, searching for words. None come. I turn, open the door, and step out into the night. The cool air hits my face, crisp and freeing. My Audi waits at the curb, gleaming under the streetlight like a loyal friend. Sliding into the driver's seat, I exhale deeply. For the first time, the weight I've carried all my life feels lighter. As I start the engine, my phone buzzes. A text, not from my parents, not from Clarissa, from a colleague. Just saw your feature in Architectural Digest. Congratulations, Hazel. Drinks soon. I smile, because this is my real family now. The people who see me, the life I've built for myself. I pull away from the curb, the city lights stretching ahead like a path of stars. For the first time in 30 years, I'm not chasing anyone's approval. I'm simply driving forward toward myself, and I know, deep in my bones, that I'll never look back.